Good afternoon, folks. This is another live from beautiful downtown Bowlby at Band-Aid and Baylor Twine Productions. Presentation of another analysis that I've been working on of a short Prokofiev piano sonata, not piano sonata, but a piano piece. This specifically the Opus 62 number 1. A collection of 3 pieces titled Thoughts, and I'm hoping this will be a good enough. Planning on putting this up on the web if it goes at all well. Otherwise, I may have to do it again. Anyway, so I want to talk about this particular piece, and as we've said before, what I've been interested in particularly is structure. And as I said before, there seems to be some evidence to support the notion that the golden mean, or the golden section, is important in the works of, or in certain works of Prokofiev, as well as particularly Russian composers from during the late 19th and early 20th century. And this is which I picked up on after reading Ellen de Grief Carpenter's thesis on that topic, history of Russian theory, from the beginning of time to the fall to the Soviet Union. And this is one that I found that was particularly interesting, and I thought we might talk a little about this one. Now, as I said before, this piece is the first movement of Thoughts, Opus 60. Yeah, if I make sure I'm getting this right. Thoughts, 3 pieces, Opus 62, which was written in the, if I'm remembering correctly, check my notes here, in our Band-Aid and Baylor Twine Studios here. It was written in the early 1930s. And I thought we'd take you through this and find and sort of discuss what I particularly think are interesting in this piece. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about, first of all, the first movement of Thoughts runs about 84 measures. 84 total measures. Hopefully you can see all this. Hey, what do you want for free? The thing is cast in 3 large sections. The first section, which I'm going to call Section A, runs from measure 1 to approximately measure 36. Measure 36. This is measure 36. The second section, which I'm going to call a B, runs from measures 34. To measures, 37 to 54. So this is the second big section. There's a second big section, which I'm going to call, so this is the A section. This is B, section B, and the third section, which I've labeled A prime, because it has strong connections or strong resemblances to the A, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, and I want to talk a little bit. The first thing I want to notice about this piece is that the sections are differentiated by texture. Section A is largely homophonic and monophonic in texture. Example: Section B is more polyphonic. It's more polyphonic in nature, and the section A prime eventually returns to the homophonic and monophonic texture of section A. However, it's important to note that one of the reasons why I'm calling this A prime is because the texture of the polyphonic B section sort of, I'm using the terms, kind of bleeds over into say, measure 54. So the texture of a polyphonic B section tends to sort of bleed over a little bit, and it doesn't actually become, it doesn't start looking truly like the A section until several measures on after the beginning of the A prime section. Okay, now this piece has a signature, has a key signature of 2 sharps, which we'll put over here. 2 sharps. There's a 2-sharp signature at the beginning, which is in B minor. In B minor, and that extends to about measure 24, and that B section, or that part, and then there is a key change from 2 sharps to no sharps or flats at all. At approximately, let me just find my, I really should have this memorized, but hey, what do I don't? From about measure 24, and then to a measure, and then at about measure 39 or so, measure 39, find it? Yeah, from measure 25, this cancellation turns it into C major. And that C major section extends from 25 to approximately 26 to 20 to, from 25 to 29. So there's a, and then that returns to the the 2 sharp signature of B minor again here, there, and from there on the key signature is 2 sharps B minor to the end of the piece. Okay, so this is sort of, yeah. Oh, I should also point out that there's a double bar. There's a double bar here at measure 3, approximately measure 3. There's a double bar there, and there's also a double bar at measure 54, roughly. Yeah, roughly 54, about here, just where the B section starts moving back into the A section, or A prime section, and then there's another, well, let's call it a final bar or bar like that at the end. I just wanted to mention those as well. Okay, now, so this gives you sort of an idea of what's going on here. So I've noticed that now, one of the things that I noticed was that the very first accidental in the piece happens right at the very beginning of the piece, where there's a C natural. There's a C natural in measure 2, and and of course but there are other emphasis on C natural as well in this piece. There's of course the C major section here that we noted, and then there are the C major signature. And let me just pull my notes out here. Then in measures, there's a section of between measures 26 through 26. 26 through 29 or so. 26 to 29, where there are a lot of C's. There are a lot of C's, particularly not necessarily all C naturals, but there are several. There's a C natural there and a prominent C natural in measure 29. So C. So the C natural, or this sort of a C-ness put it that way. There's sort of a C. There's a C something happening here, something having to emphasizing C here. It's also interesting to note that in the A section, of measure 11, at measure 11, there's a very high C right up there, and that high C section will literally come back towards the end of the movement, in a passage of literal repetition of the A section and the A prime section. Okay, all right. So then at measure 58 to 63. Well, 58 to 63 here. There is a sustained C pedal point. There is a sustained C pedal point in measures 58 to 63 that I found to be quite interesting. That comes back, and I think it looks like the longest held piece, longest note in the whole piece is this long C natural thing over here. And then I want to point this out here. And then there is an interesting, in the B section, between measures 46 and 49. In measures 46, there's a long B pedal point. There's a long B pedal point in measures 46 to 49. And this is the only syncopated pedal in the whole piece, this B pedal here. And that B pedal happens, just a second, interestingly enough, the midpoint of the piece is, of course, measure 42. So here's the halfway point or so. There's half. And then that goes to approximately measure 51 to measure 51. So measure 51 here. So this B pedal point, this syncopated B pedal, happens right between the midpoint of the piece and the golden mean, which I think is rather interesting. So this is something rather so. Okay. All right. So this is halfway between. So there's this first C natural, B minor signature proceeding over to a change of key from B minor to C major, right? And in a section that features a bunch of different types of C's, including C natural. And then over here and over on this side, you have another. You have a long sustained C natural pedal. Measures. I really should have these memorized, but I don't. Between 58 and 63. That was really kind of interesting. And then you have this long B pedal here right between the midpoint and the golden mean of the piece. Okay, so I think this is really rather interesting. And this B pedal, where that happens, the B is the lowest. Yeah, it's the lowest note. That B pedal is the lowest note, giving it again a kind of note, giving it a kind of registral emphasis in the low register. All right. So now the next thing I noticed about this piece, we've talked a little bit about this little section in here, which is measures 4 to 18. Measures 4 to. Let me find another good color for that. I haven't used red yet. Approximately measure 4 to 18. You can actually get this to cooperate. Measures 4 to about 18, this section actually, and this is where you have that high C, the high C, which in this particular part of the piece is in 8, 9, 10, 11, measure 11. There's a prominent high C doubled, in fact, of the octave. At measure 18, that high C octaves, high C in octaves. High C in octaves actually comes back in the A prime section at approximately where the just after this long C pedal point comes in, and you had the gradual texture change from polyphonic in the B section to the original textures and ideas in the A prime section. That happens in, let me see, find that. That happens in measure 63 to 77. 63 to all, and again, this is not exactly drawn to scale, but hopefully you'll get the idea. This very same stretch of music happens again in the A prime section, and it also has those high C octaves and that happens that in measure 70 is the exact duplication of 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, measure 11. Measure 11, measure 11, and measure that high C's. Those high C's happen again over here. So this is repeated, but not right at the beginning of this piece. They're not at the beginning of the big third of the piece. There's a bit of a texture shift, or there's a gradual shift from the polyphonic texture back to the more homophonic and monophonic kinds of textures that you find in the A section. Okay? All right, so these are really, I think that's kind of it. So that there seems like there is a sort of an implied symmetry. This section over that section, C pedal, B to B, and a long, low register pedal, syncopated pedal, towards the end, or pardon me, towards the middle and the golden mean of the piece. So it seems like there's a bit of some emphasis on the golden mean in this piece by Prokofiev. Okay, so now the next thing I sort of noted, I wanted to look a little bit at cadence points in between, particularly the first third and the last third. It's rather interesting that there's let's see if I can find this. Yeah, there seems to be a stopping points, and there's a stopping point here on a big. I should put that in a different color. See if I can find another good color. How about put it in pink? See this pink thing here. Here at measure 3. At measure 3, there's a big cadence on sort of just a second. Take a look at this. Make sure I'm getting this correct. Is that there's a big B flat triad. There's a big B flat. The emphasis here is on B flat. And that B flat, but it's not just a straight ahead B flat chord. It's got a B flat plus with both an A and an A flat in the chord. So there's a big B flat emphasis here. Right, and then a little later at about measure 18, approximately here, the harmony slows down quite a bit, and with an F, there's a let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 4 or 5 measures of that sort of emphasize emphasize F sharp here. And then there's another in measure 33, which is approximately here. There's a big stop. There's sort of a resting point in the harmony back on B flat. It's not exactly the best as a B flat. And then right at the end of the first big section, right here, this moves. There's a big F sharp major chord. There's a big F sharp major. There's a stretch of 1, 2, 3 measures between measures 33 and 36, right where the two sharps come back into the signature, and that ends on, of course, an F sharp. Right. So, and F sharp, of course, is the dominant. The F sharp is the dominant of B minor, the overall. Let's call it an overall, sort of like, of course I don't have an, I know, here, it's not exact, Barnyard, Band-Aid and Taylor Twine Productions here, but just bear with me, the overall key is B minor, and at the end of the first section, you basically are cadencing on what is on the dominant of F, the dominant of B, and of course the B flat and the F sharp harmonies are of course related by a common tone, being an enharmonic common tone of B flat as the root of the B flat chord and A sharp as the root of the F sharp chord and the leading tone of B. Okay, all right, so it's kind of interesting, and then towards the end of the piece, and this again, this is not exactly drawn to scale, but between measure 73 to 77, we get the following harmonies. We have an F sharp. We have an F sharp harmony, which is sustained for 2 or 3 measures, and then that moves to a G minor, harmony, which of course is the Neapolitan of F sharp, and it's also got a common tone connection of A sharp to B flat in the A flat. The A sharp in the F sharp chord becomes the B flat in the G minor chord. So there's a common tone connection again between this. And I mentioned again there's sort of a Neapolitan relationship between F sharp and G. Okay, then it moves by common tone. The next noticeable chord you get is a B flat chord, which of course has a common tone between the B minor chord. The G minor chord. Once again, I'm getting tongue-tied. The G minor chord is a common tone connection there as well, and then that B flat chord becomes a G. There's I can't find this. Yeah, and then there's a G comes back over a kind of B pedal, and then it's kind of interesting to note that in measure 83, there is a diminished seventh. There's a diminished seventh leap between B flat and C sharp, which of course is the leading tone of that's a leading tone around D here. I think I mentioned this already, but if I haven't, the first note over here of the piece is a sustained D. a low range D octave in the lower part of the piano. And then from there on, basically what you have is you've got this sort of really rather interesting harmonic aggregation of between a D note, which is sustained, and then on top, in the right hand, you have B flat chords, B flat harmony implied underneath a B and underneath a B minor chord in the left hand. And this, of course, this chord, B flat over D over B, right, is the exact same progression that you have here in the first three measures, which goes from a D to a B chord to a B, sort of B-ish kind of chord, to a B flat kind of chord. So this is picked back up again over here in the final chord. I think is rather interesting. Okay, so that's sort of what I've discovered in this piece. So there's anything that I've missed. Cadence points, cadence with third and third. So what you have basically is kind of a more B minor, right, beginning and ending. That begins in the same basic harmony, right, and then you have shifts between B and C, which of course, and B and C. C, of course, is the Neapolitan of B minor. And we've also have some, and C, and G, of course, is the Neapolitan of the dominant of B. So it kind of looks like we have kinds of emphases on particular keys and their associated Neapolitans. It's kind of interesting. And then you have this, and then you also have what kind of looks like sort of a nod towards the golden mean being important in emphasizing the main overall tonality of B minor in this low register syncopated B pedal point. Okay, so that's kind of what I've noticed, and I think this is really kind of interesting. And I would suggest that I would recommend that those who are interested hear the accompanying recordings of this piece and have a look at it yourself. So this is another thing that I've been working on. Oh, and a couple of other things that sort of passing and mentioning that, and again, this is just pure speculation on my part. But you'll notice that the B section, the middle section, is polyphonic, and this polyphonic B section might be a nod or might imply the influence of like the fugal developments in the sonatas of Beethoven, and I mention those particularly because of the fact that since Prokofiev was trying to have a career as a pianist who on his recitals would play his own piano music, that this is the kind of thing that would have a Beethovenian kind of connection. So it may very well be that this polyphonic middle section might be sort of a semi-influenced by the works of Beethoven. And so it might have been a kind of a business decision. And again, we've noticed this is also another thing that we also notice about this is that it seems like there's a fair bit of emphasis on Neapolitan relationships, and of course in Beethoven's output, particularly the Moonlight Sonata, the Opus 131 string quartet, as well as the Appassionata first movement, that there's a lot of emphasis on Neapolitan relations. So anyway, I think this is kind of interesting. It occupied a bit of my summer anyway, kept me from getting into really further serious trouble. And I hopefully you'll find this interesting, and you'll hear a few of the recordings that I've got. And yeah, this is all. I think this is all really quite interesting stuff. There's that word again. See you later. Have a nice afternoon.